Well, I think you put your finger on it when you mentioned about leadership needing to adapt. I think a lot of times leadership expects employees to adapt without thinking about where they might be blinkered based on their experience. Because as a leader, you've presumably not been born yesterday. You've been doing it for some little while, and you came up to the position that you hold via whatever avenue that you did over some period of time. And for the vast majority of senior leadership, that time was spent in the office because that's the way work has been done within living memory. And so they know what they know what they know. They know how they got there. They know how to operate and be successful in that environment. And they're not necessarily keen on a complete paradigm shift because that's risky for them. But if as we've discovered over the last several decades, really my lifetime and yours as well, with the constant technological change, the technology always is overpromised, but that doesn't mean it can be ignored. There was a time, for instance, when C-level executives didn't do email. Their secretaries would print out the email for them and give it to them in a binder, and they'd read it and then maybe dictate back a response. Nobody does that anymore. That time has passed on. Those executives that did not get with modern computers have retired or been removed because it became clear, well, that's inefficient. Why do you even need a secretary? You can read your own email your own darn self, and you can type your own email. And if what you can't type, well, that's kind of silly. For probably 20, 30 years, every school has done typing. It probably would be pretty unheard of for people that don't know how to type. And nowadays, that's not even necessary because you could do it with voice dictation in many cases. We don't even think about that. There was a time when that was something that would be on job applications. You still run into this occasionally. How fast can you type? Are you familiar with Microsoft Windows? Are you familiar with Microsoft Word? Well, if you're not familiar with Microsoft Windows, you're probably not ready for an office job, honestly.
Right. So we don't need to put proficient in Microsoft Windows and Word on our resume anymore. Does that need to be assumed?
Well, it ought to be assumed. I still think a lot of people have it there. I know I do because I do run into that in applications and things. This is an example of where leadership and the forms and the processes have not caught up to the modern era. And where things have changed so much, you need to be re-examining. And has nothing to do with remote work. This is just a general business principle. If you're doing today what you did yesterday, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it works fine. But you need to fairly regularly examine, has the situation changed? Am I wasting time and effort doing something that made sense at the time I started doing it, but it doesn't anymore?